And he's loose again. Edwards off the running. Punch it back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now. And they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams. Still sitting free. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. It's your host, Brendan, and clearly we are talking about the Indiana Hoosiers and doing the 2025 season preview for them. So any Indiana fans, we appreciate you coming in and checking it out. We're kind of start off talking football 2024, the year before we move in to the 2025 season. And we like to just get right into it. I don't like to BS too much here. So when I'll pull it up on your side and I'll adjust it on mine too. And there we go. All right. So 2024, you guys know, but this is mainly for other fans that come in that we get that sometimes where people go look at our videos to see, who they're playing and kind of what we think on that. So we've been doing this. Obviously you guys know, great season, 11-2, really out of the woodworks. When we did the preview for Indiana the year prior, before the 2024 season, we were like, man, this team could really surprise people, but it could also just tank. Like, there's so much uncertainty with the staff, and we knew Signetti could coach, and all the players coming in through the portal, just so much uncertainty. But you guys blew it out of the water. But the biggest indictment was losing. Again, people loved it, the biggest games. Getting taken down by Ohio State. And really couldn't get anything, going offensively there. It just seemed like the wind was knocked out of the sails. And then against Notre Dame, it was kind of felt similar. But still, you made the goddamn playoffs in year one with a large portal roster. It just, to me, impressive. I don't care what anybody says. I love what, the coaching staff is doing here. So you're moving on into 2025. I'm going to clear this because I always tend to forget to remove these. My partner, who's not on right now, he's much better at working the pictures than I am. So we're moving on to 2025. But how do you build off of that 2024 roster and momentum? You had the 34th rated defense or offense in the country last year, and the second rated defense in the country, and that's just incredible work. And how do you build off that? Well, you bring back a lot of your production. 62% return production. The staff is largely the same. Continuity of staff is critical, I think, in today's football world. So many are eager to just knock off head coaches, knock off coordinators just because of one bad season, and sometimes it's warranted. But right now, you guys have the momentum. You kept the staff. SP Plus from Bill Conley has you 23rd in the country. And then strength of schedule, according to his SP Plus, has you the 31st toughest schedule in the country. People will look at your schedules and say otherwise, but it's just because they're out of conference. But you're still playing 9 Big Ten opponents, so that weighs. All right, let's move on. So to maintain this on top of the returning production that you have, how do you plus it up? How do you continue the the momentum here? And that's through the transfer portal. 25th class in the country, and you lose 27, you bring in 23. So who are some of the guys that you brought in that can really keep this momentum going? Clearly quarterback position, Fernando Mendoza, he's one of them. A couple of the key players that I wrote down. Knighton is another one, and then Coogan on the offensive line. There's going to be more, but just I like to do like 3 key and 3 departures. So then the 3 guys that I wrote down that I wrote as key out. McCauley is one of them, going to Michigan. So that's a inter-conference transfer that to me always stings. Even though he didn't produce for you guys, last year, whatever happened, he still is moving on to a Big Ten foe, and that's something that hurts. Austin Barrett, and then Jameer Johnson is another one that I wrote down as guys that hurt to lose, whether it be depth where they're going to, other talent, moving to other Power 4 talent, excuse me. So a couple of the other guys, Tyler Morris coming in from Michigan, that I love that pickup, but then, he got hurt. It's horrible. I hope he recovers, quickly. But he'll be somebody to watch in the future for this team. And then some of the D linemen, offensive linemen, to support. I think this is a really nice class to maintain the momentum, like we mentioned earlier. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Offensively, what are we expecting? Is it going to be similar output? I think it can be. I mean, Rourke I loved him coming out of Ohio, but just what he did for Indiana and the fit, I think, was incredible. And I think Mendoza can do that same, maybe not the exact level of Rourke, but pretty damn close. At Cal, when we previewed them last year, they had so many pieces coming back, and the coaching staff has been there forever. They just can't get it done. And even Jaden Ott, he left the program, and it's not great, but I mean, shit on him. He was like, hey, listen, I'm now at a team that cares about football. So what's that tell you? And then Mendoza comes to Indiana, who obviously cares. Their NIL game is getting up there. They're doing well in the transfer portal. Coaching staff is strong. So if Mendoza around a stronger team and a better staff, how much can he elevate? So that's a huge question mark on this team, even though I think he's going to be a really nice player for you guys. Last year, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 68% completion percentage, again, on a team that had struggles. And now you get around with a better offensive line. I think he's going to elevate his game nicely. But we'll see. It just needs to be seen. Offensive line, mentioned that. I think it might be better. You bring in Coogan, Mikowski, and then Benson also in the portal, guys from Ohio State and Colorado. So there is talent on this team. Notre Dame, obviously Coogan. So I really like the moves that were made on the offensive line, shoring that position up. And then also at the running back position, you now have receiving threats there. Roman Hemby, he's a guy that can catch it out of the backfield. And then also BB Jr. coming over from UAB. Both these guys are able to really, advance it out of the backfield on the ground, but also in the air. And Roman Hemby's one, last year he had 40 receptions, 273 receiving yards. So, I mean, that is immediate threat that I think elevates this offense even further. I've seen a lot of people saying that this team is really going to have a fall off. I don't think I see it, guys. I like the quarterback. I like what you did at running back, offensive line, and then receiver room. You've got, good options again. Cooper and Surratt are back. You bring in Bradley from Cal, in the transfer portal. So there's familiarity there, between quarterback, Brady, excuse me, not Bradley. So I think that the continuity is going to be able to continue on. Moving on to defensive side, to me, this is where I want to see if they can really maintain that top end defense, and you get a little more offensive support if the O-line shores up and you get more passing threads out of the backfield, whatever. The defense, again, it's the D-line. Can they maintain it? You replace some big talent there. You got some portal dudes coming in to help with Wheeler, Daly stepping up. To me, it's gonna be hard to replace some, the talent that you had on the inside. Now you can get after it though on the edge. Kamara and Taylor, they're still going for it. They're very good pass rushers. I like the potential there, and if the D-line can maintain that strong rush defense, you're gonna be good in that top 10 probably style defense again. In linebacker, I think it's stout. You got Fisher and Hardy's, there as well. So there's veteran presence in the linebacker core, guys that can get the tackles. Fisher had 118 last year. So again, veteran presence, continuity, returning production, all these things matter. And then defensive back, you got dudes there with Bonds and Pons, excuse me. Guys that can anchor the defense at the back end, create coverage sacks, especially if the front four do their job. The interior is my biggest question. The edges, I think they're still going to get after it, and then linebackers are good too. You did bring in portal help, some more depth there. Devin Boykin coming over from NC State is one of them. Gandy Pitt, cornerback, he's at 6 foot. More from Ole Miss at safety. So there's guys coming in to really help out. And then we didn't even mention right now, we'd mentioned it earlier, Knighton, a great cornerback coming over from NIU. I think he's very talented and just going to create more of a lockdown presence. So you get all these things going for you. And I just don't see the drop off that everybody's saying is going to happen. But I mean, I guess anything's possible. You guys, let me know what you're seeing. Maybe I'm being over optimistic. I don't know. Tell me what your feeling is going into 2025. Now let's look at the schedule real quick. I'll pull it up on my end first and then square it away over here. Like I said, not the greatest at getting these squared away like my buddy is here, or the quickest, I should say. I do all right. But all right, pulling it up. So this, again, is where people shit on Indiana for their out of conference. But then again, you still play a 9-game Big Ten schedule, which people, especially the SEC types, they downgrade that. But I get what Indiana's doing. And honestly, I don't blame them. But hey, you do what you do. Public perception sometimes, is a killer. So you start off Old Dominion, Kennesaw, and then Indiana. So that's a 3-game warm up. And really, you should be prepping for Illinois every single one of those games. No reason not to, but threw up my damn Chick-fil-A, I guess. Sorry, you probably didn't need to know that, but whatever. You have a 3-game stretch there that you can prep for Illinois, and you should be every single game. Illinois is going to be tough because they return a lot of veteran presence as well, veteran quarterback. You guys know that that's a strong team. They did lose some pieces, but I think they're going to be right up in that same category as they were last year. People are putting them down too, so we'll see. Iowa, that's gonna be one that I think is improved. Strong defense. I mean, Parker's always got defensive squared away there, but they actually have a quarterback I think that can be competent in Gronowski and get things going. So that's one at Kinnick Stadium. It says between 12 and 4 on the schedule. If that's a 3:30 game, starts fading into night, that might get rowdy. I mean, it always is at Iowa, but you know what I mean. And then you get a bye week, and then you're on the road again at Oregon. But yes, they are a loaded team, tons of talent. I still question the quarterback position. I want to see how Moore does before I say this team is going to be what they were last year. To me, last year was their natty or bust season, and they couldn't get it done. So I don't know. That's just how I feel. Michigan State's looking for an improvement along their offense. We'll see. UCLA, kind of the same thing. They brought in Nico. That saga, whatever. We'll see what happens there. We've done previews on all those teams. Go check it out if you're interested. Like I mentioned at the beginning, some people go back and they look at other teams that we've done and kind of get a feel for it, and then that helps them figure out maybe where this season is going to land. Maryland's one that Loxley's on. I mean, he's on a hot seat, and they're going. It seems like a youth movement, trying to give their young quarterback the full reins of the offense, hoping to God it helps. I don't know. I don't trust it. And then at Penn State. Yeah, this schedule's tough. I don't care what anybody says. At Oregon, at Iowa, at Penn State, who is largely favored as, the national championship favorite. And then Wisconsin's, they have a very tough schedule this year, but they're trying to figure things out. They actually hopefully have a quarterback that will stay healthy for them. And then you play at Purdue, which has a new staff and a ton new players. I mentioned, during their preview that they could be like Indiana, in the amount of transfers and total changeover of staff and bringing a bunch of guys from UNLV. It's an interesting team. I don't think they're going to get to the level you guys did, but just kind of in that same build of replace so much. You got a new staff. We'll see what happens. So when I wrote down floor and ceiling, that's kind of what I do. I'm looking at the floor here of 8-4. If maybe the offensive line doesn't gel quick enough, Mendoza has some, growing pains in the new scheme. I don't know, just the worst case scenario, I have 8-4. You lose to Illinois and to Iowa, you lose to Oregon, you lose to Penn State. That's the worst case scenario to me. I think you've got enough talent to beat everybody else on the schedule. But when I look at the best case, I'm seeing 10-2. I don't think going undefeated is damn near impossible in my opinion. I very rarely, hand that out, the 12-0. But I think Illinois is going to be a tough team. But it's really the road games at Iowa, at Penn State. At least I'm not totally sold on Oregon. I think there's potential for you to get them. But it all depends on how this offense, gets moving, and can they support the defensive unit, and how does the interior of the defensive line hold up against the run? That's my biggest questions. We'll see what happens, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me how you're feeling. I'm interested to talk to you, and just again get your feeling on the season. Lots of light going on there in Indiana. Bloomington better be rowdy this year. All right, we'll see you guys around. Take it easy.